Hey, Daniel.
Hey, Philip.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good.
Good. Well, speaking of good, that's not what we're talking about today. Well, we kind of are. We're talking about the best baddies.
Bat-ease?
Batties, yes. The best batties. Baddies for the batsies. The best!
Hey, Daniel.
Hey, Philip.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm fine.
Oh, you're sweating quite a bit.
That's weird.
What's wrong?
I think I've got a fever.
Oh,
And
the only cure
is
more cowbell.
more cowbell. And then that's the intro.
I guess so.
Hey, Daniel.
Hey, Philip.
Third time's the charm.
Well, yeah, we'll see if any of the previous two got edited out or not.
Did you hear about Batman villains?
What? Oh, what about them?
They're more like vanillans because they're so boring.
That was the worst joke you've ever said.
Hey, Daniel.
Hey, Philip.
What's up?
The sky. Hey, Philip.
Yeah?
Who's got two thumbs and isn't named Bruce Wayne?
You.
This guy.
Oh,
me.
you.
But also this guy who's in the corner of the room that we didn't invite.
You said that so convincingly, I kind of thought it was real. Like, there maybe was a guy back there. Like, Austin was, like, came over and was hiding this whole time.
You did look very, concerned, but kind of in a happy way.
Today my
Curiously
birthday?
concerned.
That's what it felt like, a birthday surprise.
Speaking of birthdays, remember when I had that Batman-themed birthday for my 16th?
We talked about it recently.
Hey, Philip.
Hey, Daniel.
I don't know what the intro was, if it was one or some or all of those, but would you like to explain to our listeners what we're talking about, just in case they didn't pick it up in the intro?
Batman villains.
Speaking of Batman and Gotham and villainy, I'm
make it
going to
the
turn
night.
down the lights a little bit.
Turn it down. We're talking about the best Batman villains, which is a big deal.
Yeah, this is a big, I mean, it's widely regarded that Batman has the best rogues gallery in all of comic books.
Excuse you?
Rogues gallery?
Rogues gallery.
Oh, do you not know this term?
No, sounds nerdy.
Rogues gallery means like the list or the groups of villains. So we've done Spider-Man villains on the podcast before.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure in that episode, I haven't listened to that episode maybe since it came out. I don't know. But I think we said we'll do Batman villains at some point.
Here it is.
And this is the point. Like 70 episodes later. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
great. It's great to have a co-host who talks back to me.
I was processing. I'm learning something that sometimes silence is good. You know?
Silence is a good thing.
Maybe
Maybe not on a podcast, though.
well, it's weird.
Unless we do like a moment of silence.
I don't know. Maybe it's good. It's weird how you say that.
Oh.
But maybe it's good.
Are you trying to tell me to shut up? Do you have something to say that you would like to say? Nope. Okay.
No.
All right.
So it's podcast time.
It is.
This is class act conversations.
I'm Daniel Cardiff.
And I'm Philip Osterday, where we count down the best and the worst that pop culture has to offer.
And today's pop culture is Batman villains.
It's classic Countdown Conversations. In case you didn't read the title when you opened up your podcast app, and you just somehow missed.
Stumbled into this episode.
Someone just started playing this podcast. And,
I apologize. Yeah. Okay, so Batman villains. Batman is my favorite superhero of all time.
I love him.
Possibly my favorite fictional character of all time.
Interesting.
Is Batman. Possibly.
Who's your favorite non-fictional character? If you don't say your wife, you're a bad husband.
Well, that's why I was gonna ask. Like, does that mean like historical figure or just someone in my life?
Well, if you don't say Jesus, you're
I was
a bad
gonna
Christian.
say.
So now you're in a predicament.
No, Jesus, number one.
Jesus number one, but now your wife's jealous.
Wife's number two. She understands.
Yeah, she does. She better.
Third, Chris Farley.
But is Jesus,
God, and Holy Spirit all number one?
Okay,
is that what you were gonna?
You got me.
Yeah. Chris Farley's number 3 for me. That'd be a good list.
Chris Farley. Okay, top 10 non-fictional characters.
Who are my favorite people? Do you have anything to say? Are you excited for this list?
I'm excited. I'm sorry I didn't get to.
It's okay.
You said here's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then you said here's the list. And then I said here's one edit.
Yeah, I asked you if you had any edits, and you gave me one. And we'll probably get to that when we get to him.
And you just moved them up, and I like that. I don't know what the reasoning was for you to move it to where you moved it.
There was a reasoning.
Okay.
You know what's funny is I knew that you were gonna point out him and ask if he could be higher.
Well, there you go. Why did you move him so low then? Just to see if I was paying attention.
There was. I mean, maybe possibly there's some reasonings why I put him there, but I think, as always, it's always good to have two brains going at it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll move him up a bit.
Okay, thanks.
So
we kind of have a big list.
It's
25 folks.
25, and I do have some honorable mentions.
Even more so.
But it's because of well, you'll see.
Whoa.
Well, okay.
That's for my son.
Sure.
That's not for me.
You don't have to watch Mickey Mouse brushing his teeth to get you in the mood to brush your teeth. No, you're being silent again.
No. See, the silence adds more mystery to me.
Well, speaking of mystery, let's talk about Batman villains.
Oh.
I thought there was something else I wanted to say about the Batman villains, but I can't think of it now.
Cool guys.
They're cool guys. They're the best. They're the best of the worst.
Which one was you? Well,
we'll talk about.
I can't ask you the questions because that ruins the list.
Yeah, we'll talk about our favorites at the end. How about that?
Well, no.
Or just as they come.
Well, I could ask this.
What?
Which ones who did you have as an action figure?
Oh boy.
Any of them?
Oh yeah, definitely. I had a handful of them. I'll tell you which ones.
Tell me which ones you got.
Okay.
I don't think I got any Batman
villains
as a kid.
Well, let's get into the honorable mentions.
Okay.
I have 2 sections of them.
Okay.
First section is you'll see.
Okay.
We are not including Catwoman on the list.
She's not.
Because she basically splits her time.
She's not worth my time.
Well, she's great, but
nah, I hate her.
She's just as much an ally to Batman as she is a villain.
I don't know if you remember, but I talked very in depth about how much I hate Catwoman
on the Dark Knight trilogy episode.
Fixes, yeah. Fix number 1. Well, fix number 1's you got to listen to that episode to figure out what it is. But I think maybe fix number 2 is get Catwoman out of there.
So Catwoman, we're not counting as a villain. Neither are we counting Red Hood, who, by the way, this is going to be filled with a bunch of Batman spoilers, I think.
Okay.
Just all things Batman spoilers, I think. Red Hood was the second Robin who got killed, and he came back as the villain Red Hood But
Yes.
in the past, I don't know, decade or so, Red Hood has become an ally to Batman again.
Okay.
So we're not counting him.
Okay.
There's two villains that are Batman villains technically, but more so kind of fall into like Justice League villains. That's
Justice League.
Solomon Grundy
Okay.
and Owlman.
Owlman.
Owlman is from Earth 3, I think, maybe Earth 2.
Okay. It sounds like you're trying to say almond.
Owlman. No,
Owlman.
Owlman is the
Is he
alternate universe version of Batman.
Okay. I got it.
But they're villains. They're basically dictators in that universe. And then Joe Chill. Philip, do you know who Joe Chill is?
It sounds like my
Okay.
alternate identity.
Well, that lock you up away then.
What?
Because
Lock you up away?
that means that you killed Batman's parents.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
not
I'm
including
glad.
Joe Chill, because that's more of a Bruce Wayne child villain.
Ooh, yuck. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of
No,
a
just
stinky
like
thing to do.
I don't think Batman ever fights Joe Chill. It happened when Bruce Wayne was a youngin, you know?
Okay.
So I didn't include him.
Okay.
And then we have 5 just straight up honorable mentions. Ones that were in the running but didn't make it.
Okay.
That is it depends on how you pronounce his name. If you go off the Dark Knight trilogy or other things. It's
Bob
either
Farts McGee.
Yes. Would you like to
Got
talk
it.
about him
Yeah,
a little
so
bit?
Bob Farts McGee does fart in Batman's general direction.
Yes, and he hates it. It's all up in his face, and he hates
and
it.
he's got that mask on. It kind of stinks.
Yeah, it gets up in there, and can't get away. Next up, after that character,
Yeah.
is Carmine.
Bob Toots McGee.
Yeah. Is Carmine either Falcone or Falcone?
Oh yeah. It's me, Falcone.
So him, he's got some children that are also villains. Do you
Look at
know
my 3 kids and their children's and their villainous children?
if we
I'm Falcone.
if we ever do a Batman fan film, you're gonna play him. Philip, going off the Dark Knight movies, who takes the role of Carmine after Batman Begins? Do you remember that character's name?
Nope.
Sal Maroni.
Hey, it's me, Sal Maroni.
You're gonna play both. The only difference is that one has glasses and one doesn't.
Well, they have to say their names every time, just so you don't get confused.
Every time it cuts to them, even if it's like the same conversation. I think you'll like this one because it's kind of a pun.
Okay.
KG Beast.
KG Beast.
Instead of KGB, it's the KG Beast.
Oh. I thought it was more of a pun about him being a beast in a cage.
No, no, it's like he's Russian or
Yeah.
whatever KGB is.
Yeah. It's like
Is that Russian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like the
It's like the mafia,
FBI.
or not the mafia. It's like the Gestapo almost for
Sure.
Germany. The only if you need a visual aid for KG Beast, imagine. Well, actually, I'll get to it later because we're going to talk about that villain in a little bit.
Okay.
Calendar Man, and I know. See, you laugh. He was a joke basically when he first came in, but the story Batman Long Halloween, like actually kind of beefed him up and made him a pretty good villain.
Did you make it Everyday Halloween?
He made Everyday Halloween.
It sounds like Daniel's vacation.
It sounds like me if I did a villain.
Daniel is Calendar Man. I'm Sal Maroni and Falcone.
I'm Halloween Man. And last honorable mention is Firefly.
Oh, the show?
The show, yes. The space western.
You just wanted to throw that in there.
Batman hates Firefly, the show.
It's his greatest enemy.
No, he's a bug-themed hero with a flamethrower, and he can fly around.
That's cool.
And that's the last of the honorable mentions.
Okay.
Starting off our list. Speaking of bug-themed villains, Philip.
Okay.
Number 25 is Killer Moth.
Oh.
In case we didn't make it clear, we have 25.
Oh yeah, that's true. We
have
did
a list of 25.
Let me
Killer Moth.
tell you a little bit about Killer Moth.
Oh, are you looking stuff up?
He's he's the Superman villain who first appeared in Batman number 63 in 1951.
So I literally have all the years that they showed, the months and the years that they showed up in my notes.
There you go. Did I do it right?
You did, yeah. He showed up in February of 1951. You say Batman 63?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
He's often portrayed as a low-level criminal, but he has some notable appearances in DC Comics.
Yep.
He's perhaps best known for his role in the Nightfall storyline, which he hires the assassin whom I cannot name.
So I was doing some research on these characters today, Philip.
Yeah.
And I was reading up on Killer Moth.
Yeah.
I've always liked Killer Moth based on Lego Batman.
Okay.
I always liked him in that video game. But I was doing some research on him, and I think you would like him. As I was reading, I was like, Philip, this is a villain Philip would like. So he kind of started out as like the anti-Batman.
Okay.
So he didn't have any powers. He relied on gadgetry and stuff like that. He has the Mothmobile
Nice.
instead of the Batmobile. And he's just that type. Like, he was just kind of like the opposite of Batman. Not the opposite, but like he was similar to
counterpart to Batman.
Yes, he was another, night-ish creature-themed person.
Okay.
His real name is, and this is a weird, I don't know if this is anyone has ever been named this before. It's Drury.
Oh yeah.
Drury Walker.
Drury.
Drury.
I've seen that in books. Never named.
Drury.
Never been told that someone's name is Drury.
Yeah, I've never met anyone that'd be like, my name is Drury.
It's like, excuse me.
Did you
have a
try to say
stroke?
jewelry?
She's trying to say jewelry and have a stroke. Why is your face not working?
Why do you look like Sylvester Stallone? And yeah, he kind of started out as a joke, but has become kind of a good killer, assassin, bounty hunter in his own right since his debut.
I like it.
So
I like it. Killer man.
Killer Man. It's a
Killer
better
Moth.
name, probably. Killer Moth is not very
You don't think that's exciting
intimidating.
enough?
I mean, do you know what he looks like?
No.
I love his costume.
Does he look like a moth?
It is the most comic booky costume you'll ever see.
I'll look it up. Maybe.
Look it up right
Someday.
now.
Okay. All right. Killer Moth.
It's the one with the green helmet. You found it.
Green helmet?
Yeah.
This guy doesn't look
Green mask. He has like a green mask.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like him?
I like him.
He's very colorful.
He's got a bag with him.
Oh, he's probably stealing jewels or something. Because his name's Drury. He's probably stealing jewelry.
He looks more like an alien than he
Yeah,
does
a
a
little
moth to me.
And actually, in later comic books, he turns into a giant moth. And I know that
Interesting.
sounds like a Daniel joke, but that's an actual thing that happens in the comic books. Who's number 24, Philip?
The ventriloquist.
Yes.
The ventriloquist.
The ventriloquist. Do you know this character?
Is that how you spell
Ventriloquist, yeah.
Is it with a V-E?
Yeah.
My whole life.
Ventriloquist.
My whole life, I've said ventriloquist.
Ventriloquist. That's where people put their hand up their van's tailpipe and they talk through that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But a ventriloquist is with dummies. Do you know who this character is? You've seen Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, I have, but it's been since I was a child.
I thought you rewatched it.
I watched
Some of it.
like one episode, maybe the beginning of another one. I didn't start. I started.
You said I've got too much stuff to do.
I said. I think I said, "How am I ever going to watch this and be by myself and have time to do that?"
Because you started after you got married.
Yeah.
I'm learning that right now.
Yeah.
It's like it's hard to find a show that your spouse isn't also interested in watching with you,
Right.
but also like finding time to watch it when they're not around.
Yeah.
It's tough.
And then if you are alone, you're like, well, Now I have too many options.
Now I have too many options. Or what I've been thinking lately, I've been like, I should probably be more productive than I am being right now. I want to just. What do you think the ventriloquist is? What do you think?
I assume that he can make other people do things for him.
Oh, so you think it's like a
more
hypnostic thing?
Yeah, more of that.
You're wrong.
I'm wrong. Does he have dead people?
No.
That he makes talk?
I think you're overthinking it.
He has a dummy.
Yes.
Okay. And the dummy kills people.
Yes, basically. So his name is Arnold Wesker.
A lot of good names.
Drury Walker, Arnold Wesker. He came into comic books in February 1988. I'm gonna I feel kind of insensitive for not knowing. It's not multiple personality disorder. It's when like you project a personality onto an inanimate object. It's whatever that
I don't know what
disorder
that
is.
Yeah.
So Arnold Wesker thinks that his dummy is evil.
Oh.
And that he's the henchman for the dummy.
Oh, interesting.
The dummy's like dressed like a 1930s like mobster.
Okay.
And he has like a little Tommy gun.
That's awesome.
It is pretty awesome, actually. But it's interesting because and I think this is kind of our first dive into like just completely insane Batman. Like
they all get a little crazy.
Yeah. I mean, some of them are kind of just like straight up killers and assassins, but other ones are literally insane. And that's why they're in Arkham, is because that's an insane asylum. This one definitely belongs in the insane asylum. He thinks that his ventriloquist dummy is evil and that he's forcing him to commit crimes.
Yeah.
So, interesting villain.
Interesting. I don't know if we've ever mentioned this, but most of my knowledge of Batman now is just from the Arkham Asylum or Arkham games.
Okay. Well, I think he's in one of them.
I don't remember him, but he probably is in there.
Maybe he's like a side quest.
There's so many of them.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
I know you definitely, in Arkham Asylum, when you find like all the character sheets.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of those character sheets.
Sure
I know
he
that.
is, yeah.
So anytime that we come up against one that is in the Arkham games, share your knowledge.
I'll share any knowledge that I may or may not have.
I think you might know this next one. 23. Victor Zsasz.
Zsasz.
Do you know who Zsasz is?
No.
I think when I explain what he does, it'll come up in your brain.
Yes. I see him.
So
I see what he does.
What does he do?
He's a serial killer.
Yes.
I got that. And he targets the rich?
I actually think he targets like younger women, maybe.
Well, one of us is right.
Maybe rich younger women. I don't know.
And carves a tally mark on the body for each victim he kills.
Yes. So he's just full of scars, which is kind of interesting. He's probably the most psychotic one.
That sounds pretty spooky to me.
Him or the one that you made me move up.
Good. Yeah, he's the most psychotic.
Those two are probably the most.
And that's why he gets me.
Yeah.
That other one.
Victor Zsasz has been around since June 1992. He actually shows up in Batman Begins. Nice. For a little bit.
What does he do?
Is
he hiding in the shadows?
He gets out of when all the jail people, the prisoners break out at the end?
No.
Okay. I thought you liked those movies.
Thought I did too.
Okay, who's number 22, Philip?
I'm feeling 22.
Whoa, yeah, Taylor Swift.
Black Mask.
Okay.
Is that right?
Black Mask, yeah.
Okay. This sounds racist. Is it racist?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. At least at the time, I don't think it was supposed to be. People would probably cancel it now, maybe. Okay. I don't know.
Right.
So Roman Sionis is his name.
Roman.
He's been around since August 1985. And he is just one of the crime lords in Gotham.
Okay.
He's kind of the anti-Bruce Wayne.
I see.
He was born into a wealthy family. His parents were kind of like, they were higher ups in the society of Gotham, but they were very like fake. They were super classy to everyone else and very like neglectful for him. So he kind of got this obsession with masks based on like his parents' quote unquote masks that they would wear in public. So both his parents died. I don't remember how, and he ends up making a mask out of his father's coffin.
Sick.
Yeah, and it's like a black mask, kind of looks like a skeleton a bit.
Okay.
So that's Black Mask.
That's spooky.
He's cool, but there's 21 other villains that are better.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
21, Hugo Strange.
It's very strange that you brought this one up.
Yeah. Do you know anything about Hugo Strange?
I know that name.
Okay.
And I don't remember much else.
Okay. Well, here's the most interesting thing about him, Philip.
Okay.
Of all the ones on our list, he has been around for the longest.
He's the first Batman villain?
He's been around since February 1940. And Batman has been around since March or May. It's debatable.
Okay.
1939.
Wow.
So not even a year later.
Who's the first Batman villain?
Well, it's up to
Tell
debate.
me now.
If we're looking at Detective Comics, I don't know. If we're looking at Batman comics, we'll get to him in a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
So he's been around the longest. And he was actually meant to be Batman's arch nemesis. He's a psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum most of the time. Obviously, things vary up in different comic books.
Sure.
But he's just a psychopath who's like obsessed with finding out the secrets of Batman and all this stuff. He basically tortures his clients, I guess, patients. He tortures his patients. And he's just overall just a really psychotic monster.
That sounds like me.
Yeah.
Sounds like my story.
It sounds like how you've treated me the last 10 years. So
you are my patient.
That was the end of that sentence, huh? You're tired tonight, huh?
So number 20, huh?
Yeah, he's number 20.
Man-Bat, I know this one.
Okay, explain Man-Bat to us.
Is it a joke? Did it start off as a joke too? Because that's a joke to me.
It's just the backwards.
Now, the villain himself is not that much of a joke. He's like a scientist who...
If it was a true joke, his name would be Namtab. But it's Man-Bat. It's Man-Bat. So it's like they went halfway with the joke.
So, oh my gosh. At least how it's portrayed in the Batman video game that I played. He's a scientist who's doing work on bats. Mm-hmm. And gets a little too crazy.
Yeah.
And he becomes a bat himself and is a dangerous man.
But not just a regular old bat.
A man-bat.
He's a giant.
A bat man,
yes.
You may say.
Yes. Some might say a Batman. If Batman wasn't a phony poser, it was an actual Batman. That's who Man-Bat would be. He's pretty cool. I really like. I mean, I feel like you see this a lot in comic books where it's just like, we're gonna take the hero and do exactly the opposite, like what he would be if his name said what it meant. You know what I mean?
I see.
Like,
Rhino.
Yeah, stuff like, and also you kind of get like a lizard comparison with Spider-Man.
Yeah,
how it's a scientist who does experiments on himself, turns into a giant animal.
Yeah.
So yeah, Man-Bat, his real name's Kirk Langstrom, and he's been around since June 1970.
Okay.
I think in some iterations he's trying to cure deafness, and that's why he's doing experiments on bats. Okay.
Yep.
Which is cool. It's tragic because he was trying to do a good cause, and then
I feel like almost all of Batman's villains are tragic.
A lot of them are. A lot of them are tragic. I was reading up on a lot of their backstories today, and I was like, these writers are just trying to give these villains literally every bad thing that could happen to them to make them, understandable. Like I remember Black Mask. I was like, oh, this happened. He got bullied in school. Oh, his fiance dumped him. Oh, all this stuff. Yeah. So Man-Bat, classic Batman villain, deserves to be in the top 20.
He's a scary guy.
Scary guy. I would be terrified if he was real. Number 19.
Hey, look who's in the corner. It's Man-Bat.
Oh, sick.
Weird.
A lot smaller than I expected.
It's a lot cooler
In
to
person.
be in person.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, man. Is he smoking a doobie?
Wow.
Whoa, so cool.
Cooler than Batman in every way.
Number 19, Mad Hatter.
Now that's interesting.
Now,
What an interesting crossover that they did.
yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you could probably just talk about this character based on what he actually is from.
So, not the Alice in Wonderland guy,
Right.
but I assume spooky, scary like him.
Yeah.
So just a madman.
Okay. Since I'm trying to, let's try to make this like interesting, right?
No.
If you were so his name is Jervis Tetch, and he's been around since October 1948. If you're a comic book writer in 1948,
Okay, you say?
and yeah, you see, and it's August of 1948, you see, and me, your boss,
You became like a little dirty
me, your
guy.
boss comes in, and I say, Philip or Mr. Osterday, create me a villain named Mad Hatter.
Mad Hatter.
And then I say, by the end of the week, you're fired, and I walk out of the room. But what would you do without copyright infringement on the Alice in Wonderland, character? How would you go about making this villain?
Guy with a hat.
Okay.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Colorful.
Mm-hmm. What's his motive? What's his psyche?
I can't say that I know what it is for Alice in Wonderland.
You're making
so
up this.
I guess
yeah.
I'm making it up.
You're making up this character in 1948.
So I do have plausible deniability at this point, and it's recorded history even, so I can't get sued.
Okay.
So great. He loves birthday cakes,
Okay.
and he didn't get his birthday celebrated.
Okay. So really you're talking about Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Is that true?
That's kind of his motivation in that movie.
Is that the Jamie Foxx one?
Yeah. So I was almost excited. I thought you were about to say what I wanted you to say. You said that he loves, and then you went with birthday cake. Which isn't it?
Alice? He loves Alice?
Yes, he loves the story of Alice in Wonderland. He's like obsessed, mentally obsessed with it. To where he like kidnaps blonde girls and pretends that they're Alice, and he's the Hatter and stuff like that.
Yikes.
So he's just completely insane, completely in love with the Alice in Wonderland book story. So he dresses up like the Mad Hatter from that.
Okay.
So, and yeah, Batman's he's another one. I'd say he's in the top maybe 5 of just insane Batman villains mentally.
Okay.
So,
Number 18?
number 18.
Talia al Ghul.
Ooh.
Now, I've actually never heard. I don't know if I know who Talia is.
You 100% know who
Who's
Talia is.
Talia?
She's in the Dark Knight trilogy.
Who is she?
She's the daughter of another villain that we're going to get to.
But who is she in real life?
Who's she in real life?
Yeah.
Like the actress?
Yeah.
She's the girl from Inception.
Okay.
That's in the third Batman movie. Remember?
Okay.
She has a really horrible death scene.
Yes. Maybe. It's been a long day. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for my I don't know. I'm sorry.
Are you on something? What's going on?
I'm on another level is what I'm on.
You are definitely on another level.
Whether it's up or down, that's up to you. It's up to Becca. Becca, you're the only one who gives us money. So you decide. Shout out to Becca. She was at my house the other day.
Oh, are they in town?
They're gone now. But I guess it just goes to show who her favorite podcast host is.
You, obviously. I'm nobody's favorite podcast host.
Well,
Other than maybe my wife. Maybe.
No.
Oh. Okay. I'm nobody's favorite podcast host.
Your wife told me. She's like, actually, it's you.
Talia al Ghul, she's the villain, or she's the daughter of another villain that we'll get to in a little bit. She's actually the mother of Bruce Wayne's son.
Say that one more time.
She's the mother of Bruce Wayne's son. So her and Bruce Wayne had a kid together.
They got busy.
They got busy, and they had a kid together named Damian Wayne, who ends up becoming a Robin at one point.
Okay.
She's like her relationship with Batman's interesting, but her as a character isn't super interesting. Does that make sense?
She herself is not that weird or cool.
Yeah, but like her connections to Batman, I guess, are pretty interesting. So she deserves to be on the list, but not super high.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad you put her where she is then.
Number 17 is Deadshot.
Pew!
Pew, pew, pew.
That was a gunshot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Talia al Ghul has been around since May 1971.
Thanks.
Deadshot's real name is Floyd Lawton, and he's been around since June 1950.
Okay.
So he's early days.
Now this guy's been in movies, right?
Yes.
Recently?
Can you guess what actor played Deadshot?
I think it's Will Smith.
You're 100% correct.
Yes.
Give off the confetti cannons.
I did it.
Blow the air horns.
On another level.
Philip,
like I
got
said.
it. Deadshot, he's really cool. He would be higher, but he's not solely a Batman villain. He kind of gets hired out here and there throughout the DC universe.
So he's in the one with all the bad guys together, right?
Yes. So typically Deadshot is the main character of a Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. Thank you.
Story in general, whether it be that first movie, if there's a TV iteration of the group, if the comics,
But is Suicide Squad all just Batman villains? Or
No.
is it just DC villains?
It's just DC villains. So
Okay.
a lot of Batman villains end up on it.
Okay.
And Deadshot usually leads the team.
Now he's a sniper
Yes.
who's just too dang good for his own
For his own good.
good. And so he gets hired out.
He is the second best assassin in the DC universe.
Who's first?
We'll get to him in a little bit.
My
Whoa,
mom.
a little bit of a teaser there.
My joke was ruined by
Oh,
that.
what was your joke?
My mom. That's a cool mom. If you're like, my mom is the best assassin in the Batman universe.
Yeah, that's true. That'd be pretty
And
awesome.
nobody could really say. I mean, like,
I guess
how
it's
do you
true.
know?
We've never seen your mom in the DC universe, so we don't know.
But maybe that's how good she is.
That she people think that's other assassins, but it's
Yeah.
really her in the shadows.
She's the shadow assassin.
All right.
Is that a person? If that's not a bad guy, shadow assassin.
I'm sure there's some sort of shadow assassin. Okay.
Yeah.
What's number Philip, you get to say number 16, and this is the character that you love that you made me move up. So who is it?
Now, you wrote it down and you said Professor Paigi.
No, that's just how it's that's how it's spelled in the comic books.
I know. It's Professor Pig.
Yeah.
Now this guy. So in the video game, you're gonna have to tell me, school me on the actual like comic book
Well,
style.
you tell me what happens in the video game, and I'll
In the
explain.
video game, Batman's walking around. He's like, "Oh, that's weird. I hear opera music."
Uh-huh.
And he goes around and he finds these dead bodies that have been mutilated.
Yeah.
And he finds like little trinkets to figure out who it is.
Yeah.
And it all leads him back to Professor Pig. Paigi. And Professor Paigi, he does he reanimate people?
He kind of like I
I remember fighting off a bunch of like weird body things.
Yeah. So he doesn't reanimate them as much as he like does experiments on them and like either adds body parts to them or he just kind of makes them into his own like personal weird animal.
I'm
things.
assuming he wears human faces.
Well, it's like a pig
Or is-
mask.
But maybe a pig mask.
It might be made of skin. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gross. He's a gross man. He's
Yeah.
he's like a butcher.
Right, yeah.
Because he's just doing stuff to bodies all the time.
Honestly, visually, he might be one of my more favorite Batman villains. He's like he dresses as a butcher. He has like his little apron on.
Yeah.
And he just wears a pig mask, and he has like butcher knives and stuff.
He's just crazy.
Yeah, so you're pretty much the video game pretty much does him justice. That's pretty much what he is in the comic books. Another thing that he does is he kind of turns people into like his like zombie servants.
That's what I'm thinking.
Called well, so he does both. He does these things called dolphins. Dolphins.
Okay.
We'll call them dolphins. Where it's like mindless zombies, but then he also does experiments where he like adds animal parts to people and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
Professor Paige's dolphins are our white horse.
that sentence. That was a sentence would have thought I'd ever hear. He's just a sicko.
Yeah.
He's probably
just like us.
Him and Victor Zsasz are the two sickest Batman villains.
And by sickest, you mean coolest.
Yeah, I do. They're shredding those skateboards up and down the rails.
Sick.
Number 15.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. Professor Pig, Laszlo Valentine is his real name, which is pretty. I like that name.
Laszlo
Valentine.
Laszlo.
Here's a crazy thing. He's
new, right?
He technically made his first appearance in July 2007, but the iteration that we know him as was June 2009. So just about 15 years he's been around.
Okay.
But something that's been around even more recent than that is the Court of Owls.
Is this multiple people?
Yes. So
it is.
The Court of Owls is February 2012 was their first appearance. Do you know what the Court of Owls is?
Nope.
It's basically like the Illuminati of Gotham.
Okay, cool.
So Batman kind of like figures out, there's like the secret society running Gotham.
And it's the Court of Owls.
It's the Court of Owls. So they all wear like these owl eye mask things.
And they're always watching.
They're always watching. They're always, pulling the strings of like higher society and all the way down to like the slums of Gotham.
The scums of the slums.
The scums of the slums. And then they...
Sounds like a Dr. Seuss book by Batman.
like the alternate universe Dr. Seuss book. And then they hire out these assassins called Talons.
I see.
That are really well trained to fight
Batman.
Batman.
Like an owl Talon.
They're cool. They're super new, so I didn't want to put them too high.
It's weird how they're above Professor Pig.
I think people tend to like them more.
It's weird.
Sorry.
It's weird. It's not in the video game.
That's all you care about. It's your video games. All right. Who's number 14, Philip?
Killer Croak.
Killer Croak. He croaked.
He croaked and then he became a croc.
His
Crocodile.
name's Waylon Jones.
Waylon.
And he's been around since February 1983.
Oh, that's shorter than I thought.
Yeah. Do you know Killer Croc?
Only from what you've told me.
Can you give a guess?
He's a crocodile-y man.
Yes.
And he lives in the sewers of Gotham.
Yeah.
And he gets them.
Yeah. We're just going to leave it at that.
Gets them.
Number 13 is Hush. You know Hush? He shows up in the video games at one point.
He does?
Yeah.
Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Batman's gonna sing you a lullaby. Don't say a word, I'm gonna kill. And it's gonna be so chill.
All right. Hush.
Hush is actually Batman in my song.
So Hush, of all the villains on the list, probably has shown up the least. He's not in a whole lot, but he is the main antagonist of one of the most beloved Batman stories, Batman Hush.
That sounds familiar. When you put the two words together,
Batman Hush.
There was a synapse that fired, and I was like, "That's a memory."
Do you mind? Is it okay if I spoil Hush for you right now, or?
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you who don't want Hush spoiled for you, and I would recommend going and reading it, we'll put in a time code right now.
46 minutes, 29 seconds.
So, Hush, he basically pulls the strings. He manipulates even other villains, other major villains. He manipulates them to go up against Batman. He joins partners with another villain. And he's basically on a revenge quest against Batman. And you find out the reason why throughout the story. He was childhood friends with Bruce Wayne. Their parents were best friends.
Okay.
And he wanted to inherit his parents' money, so he tried to kill them. But Bruce Wayne's father, being a surgeon, ended up saving his mother. And he developed a grudge against the Waynes ever since then. Grew up, tried to get revenge on Batman once he found out the true identity of Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Okay.
He wears a trench coat and his face is wrapped like a mummy.
Oh.
He's cool. He's a cool looking villain.
Oh.
And of all Batman's villains, he has one of the more personal connections with him. And speaking of villains that he kind of manipulates in that story, we're going to move on to our number 12, which is
Clayface.
Oh, Clayface.
Now, Clayface, he seems a lot like Sandman.
It's basically the DC equivalent.
Is that so?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of Killer Croc is basically the DC equivalent of the Lizard.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's Clayface, basically the DC equivalent.
Now, how do they get away with that?
They've been doing it for a long time.
It's just kind of sneaky, you know? Just kind of well, maybe one of you should not do that.
Well, Clayface has been around a lot longer
than Sandman?
Yes, much longer.
All right, how long has he been around?
So his name is I'm sorry. Hush name is Tommy Elliott, and he's been around since January 2003.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my word.
Hey, it's me, Tommy.
Tommy. We're just talking about Tommy Elliott.
Tommy Elliott?
Do you know who Tommy Elliott is?
Tell me. Is it Hush?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Got it?
Wow, yeah, you got it right.
Daniel, I got to tell you something. And Philip, he was fine. Whatever. But Daniel, you wouldn't believe it.
What?
Guess today I learned.
What'd you learn?
There's these books that you don't have to read. They just got pictures.
Oh, what? They're called picture books?
No, they're for adults.
Picture books for adults. What are they called?
Comic books.
Oh, well, comic books you still have to read.
You don't have to, though.
I guess you don't have to.
Yeah, so I love them.
Yeah, which ones are you into?
I like the Batman. The Batman Hush series is what I just read, and that's why I knew about Hush.
Yeah.
And his name is Tommy, and so I liked it. I picked it up.
Yeah, good.
It was the one word I knew.
Hush.
Was
Hush or
Tommy.
Batman? Oh, Tommy.
Was Tommy. I said, that looks like a couple of lines and circles and things that I've seen before. And that's my name.
Yeah. Last week you sat in on the rest of our podcast with us, but then you never left.
I left.
Did you leave after? Because we got up and we turned off the lights and you're still sitting in here.
Who do you think was the man in the corner earlier?
Oh, dressed up as the Bat? That was you?
That was me.
Whoa.
And then I came, and then I left, and then I came back.
Because you're so into Batman right now.
I love Batman.
Wow.
Isn't it great to be with me?
Yes, it's great to be with you, Tommy.
I've been waiting to hear that all day. Thanks. So anyway, it's time for me to go. See you later, boys.
Bye, Tommy.
Bye, Tommy.
That was good.
What impeccable timing he has.
I know. It's like he has a sixth sense for it. Hush has been around since January 2003. Clayface. It's interesting. So there's like 6 or 7 different Clayfaces throughout the years.
Really?
Yeah, lots of different people by the name. The most famous one is Basil Carlo.
Like the
Herb?
herb?
Like the herb. And then Carlo, I think, might be a reference to
Cars?
Karloff. Boris Karloff.
Who that?
He played like Frankenstein back in the 30s and stuff.
Frankenstein?
I'm sorry, Frankenstein's monster back in the 30s.
I see.
But what's interesting is he's probably the most famous one, but he didn't have the shape-shifting ability. He just wore a mask. He was like an out of work like horror actor that just wore a mask. So that's where the Clayface came from. And then later on, Matt Hagen was kind of the more famous one for being like able to shapeshift, and he was made of clay.
Okay.
He's been around since June 1940.
Is there another comic book one that's like Dirt Boy or something?
Probably. You know how many characters there are in comics? So many. That's why in movies I get frustrated when they start making up characters. I'm like, you have literally almost 100 years worth of comic books to take names from.
Stupid. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Number 11 is Deathstroke.
Don't try to go past that.
What?
That it's so dumb.
What is?
Everything.
Deathstroke is number 11. He is the best assassin in the DC universe.
Deathstroke, huh?
Deathstroke.
How does he kill people? With a stroke of his hand?
Yeah, with one stroke. He has his swords or his guns or, I don't know, nunchucks or something.
Just anything, huh? This guy's does it all.
He's a mercenary. He'll be hired to assassinate you or get you through somewhere safe.
What's he look like?
He dresses kind of like a ninja. He actually only has one eye.
Now that's just impractical.
Well, it wasn't his fault.
It's the writer's fault for putting in.
He has an eye patch.
Yeah, but he doesn't have good depth perception.
But he's the best assassin there is.
I don't think so.
And
what he could do with 2 eyes.
His mask is like half and half. The side without the eyes black, and the other side's orange.
That's freaking sweet.
Yeah, you should look up a picture of him right now.
I don't want to.
Okay. So the reason why he's only at 11, again, kind of the same with Deadshot. Like, he moves around the DC universe, but he's mainly a Batman villain. He's also a big Teen Titans villain. His name is Slade Wilson, and he's been around since 1980.
I mean, if you name your child Slade, you better know that they're going to become an assassin.
Yeah, he's going to be
assassin.
Assassin.
Assassin, you say?
But funny enough, Deadpool from Marvel is a spoof on Deathstroke. That's why his name is Wade Wilson.
Interesting.
So there's Slade Wilson and then Wade Wilson.
Still really bad. Still really bad how that is a thing.
I didn't understand that sentence
I
at
don't
all.
like that. I don't like they steal from each other.
Well, but that one was like an intentional.
Oh, because like
spoof.
Deadpool's kind of like a brick in the fourth wall.
Right.
I see.
And he like doesn't take anything seriously, and Slade Wilson takes everything seriously. He's like the opposite of him, basically.
see.
And he has 2 eyes.
He does have 2 eyes.
Deathstroke only has 1.
But does he wear glasses?
No.
That would be the biggest.
But he does have a bottomless bag that has unlimited ammo and guns in it. Deadpool does.
Deadpool?
Yeah.
Is that in the movies?
They kind of have like a reference to it, but in the comic books, it's literally like it's just a bag, and he pulls out like anything out of it. It's kind of like Mary Poppins' bag.
They get away with that, huh? People like that.
Everyone loves Deadpool.
You never heard me say that.
But I think Deathstroke is cooler than Deadpool.
Number 10. We're at the 10s, huh?
Yeah. Number 10.
You know what I miss?
What do you miss?
Making money.
Oh, yeah. I miss that too.
It's too bad we don't.
Are we stepping on the elevator, or are we just going to be sad about
it feels like the elevator's just going by us and we don't ever get to step on it. You know what I mean? You know, if we're talking about the metaphor.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like actually it's more like the elevator's just slowly lowering and we're just watching it and waiting it.
Yeah. It's slowly lowering into our graves.
Yeah. But Becca's there.
Becca's there. Becca's on the elevator with us.
Becca's like calling us. Is like, just jump on. And we're like, well, we need more though.
Like I already just pointed out, Becca. Chad is also.
Chad doesn't listen.
Helping out.
Chad doesn't have time to listen.
That's true.
Becca listens when she works out. I don't know if Chad works out. Maybe he does.
I hate all of our listeners.
Whoa.
All right. Who's number 10?
Harley Quinn.
Except for Becca. I don't hate Becca.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Or our wives.
No, not our wives. Not Jesus.
Jesus.
Harley Quinn, number 10.
Yeah, so Harley Quinn has kind of become an anti-hero of herself. But her time spent with Batman, she's mainly a villain. So I decided to keep her in the running for this list.
She's kind of annoying.
You don't like her?
I mean, of what I've seen of her.
Okay.
I don't know too much about her.
I actually quite like Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I think what I know of her is that she's like into another villain.
Yeah.
And that's like her shtick. And that's it.
Yeah, so she was his psychiatrist or psychologist.
Okay.
One of the two. And she fell in love with him while she was trying to understand his psyche.
Okay.
So she fell in love with him, became his girlfriend, became his sidekick. She's the only one on the list that originated from a cartoon. She originated in Batman the Animated Series.
Really?
Before the comics, yeah. And she's one of the few big, well-known comic book characters that did not originate in comic books.
Just goes to show.
Yeah.
How sweet that show
It really was. And she's been around since September 1992.
Maybe I'll rewatch that show.
I haven't seen it all the way through.
It used to be on Hulu.
I need to watch it all.
I don't think it is.
I think it's on HBO Max now.
Ugh. You mean Max?
The Max. And I think you'll like this. Her real name is Harleen Quinzel.
Why? I don't like that, Daniel.
And she goes by Harley Quinn.
You don't understand me if you think that that's what I would like.
And she's also usually on the Suicide Squad.
Yes.
She's usually a member of that.
Yes. Okay.
Wonderfully portrayed by Margot Robbie.
Oh.
I hadn't been really talking, although a lot of these haven't been adapted yet, except for Talia, Ghoul, and Deadshot. But yeah, very well played by Margot Robbie.
And Victor Zsasz.
I don't know who that actor is.
He's been played by me.
Okay. Oh gosh, where'd all those marks come from? Number 9.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, what were you gonna say?
Number 9.
Oh, Mr. Freeze.
Brr. It's actually, it is kind of chilly in here.
I think it feels great.
You like it?
Now you know Mr. Freeze.
I do know Mr. Freeze.
Explain him to me.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes, that is his real name in the comic books. Is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, this guy. Now this guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if this did they? I feel like they adjusted his backstory.
Yes. So there's quite a history with him, but go ahead.
I'll go with the newest backstory that I know of.
Yeah.
And it's that he's trying to save his wife, right? Or is she dead already?
I think it varies, but
a
lot of times she's like frozen in like
the cryo chambers.
Yeah. So she's alive, but she's dying slowly.
Yeah. And so he's trying to do his best to keep her alive.
Yeah.
And it wreaks havoc because of that. So Batman's got to kill people
well,
to keep people alive. So ethics.
Would you kill one person if it saved 3 more?
Right.
So yeah. So you're 100% right.
Of course I am.
He started out as Mr. Zero. Was his first original comic book name.
Interesting. That's a little too close to another guy. A Spider-Man villain. Mysterio.
Oh. Oh, very good. Yes.
So, it's like, You're like Mr. Miyagi. Very good.
Ironically, my name's Daniel.
Okay.
Get it? Because of Daniel's son?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay. So he started out as Mr. Zero. The 1960s Batman show with Adam West actually changed his name to Mr. Freeze.
Oh.
Why? I don't know.
So he wasn't even like a freezy guy.
He was, but his name was Mr. Zero, like below zero,
below
probably.
zero. Because Mr. Freeze is better.
Mr. Freeze sounds. I don't know. I kind of like Mr. Zero.
Mr. Zero's
actually, just Zero would be a better name.
Well, yeah, but then you run into the holes. You know.
You're just full of them tonight. And he was kind of looked
plot
at
holes is what I meant.
Yeah.
The plot holes.
Well, yeah.
Not the book
that old
holes
show's
or the
filled with
movie.
them. He was looked at as a joke.
I don't even know how my brain got there.
As a joke villain for years, until thank the Lord for Batman the Animated Series again.
Yeah, made him cool
they
again.
revitalized him and made up that backstory about his wife.
Made it good.
Yeah, the animated show is just phenomenal. My only problem, like I think Mr. Freeze could have been higher on this list.
Okay.
But I feel like ever since they established that backstory for him, they haven't ever really like done anything else.
Now everybody's like, well, so many ethics.
Yeah,
they're like, how do we do ethics?
They're all like, oh man, how is Batman gonna kill this one person to
Yeah.
save three others?
Yeah. And that's it. Like, what's weird is it's always three others.
Every time. It's always times 3. Who's number 8, Philip?
You caught me off guard.
Well, you have the
Wow.
list.
And I breathed in. It made my throat so dry. It's Poison Ivy. She got me.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Which is funny because she does kill men by kissing them and probably shoots poison down their throats.
Yeah, right down their gullets.
So, yeah, Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy. Probably like what I'm most uncomfortable with. If I were to say,
Poison Ivy makes Philip uncomfortable.
if I were to say of all of the villains, probably Poison Ivy.
I like how we've talked about a man who cuts himself every time he kills, a man who dresses like a pig and mutilates people, but it's the girl that controls vines that makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah, Poison Ivy is pretty uncomfortable.
She's always like half naked.
Yeah,
which is
kind of
a
uncomfortable.
little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Freeze has been around since 1959.
Oh.
Poison Ivy, her name is Pamela Isley, and she's been around since June 1966.
Those dirty birds.
Yeah, those dirty hippies. So yeah, she can.
What is Kramer called? Something a hipster.
Oh yeah, I don't remember. I know what you're talking
It's
about.
from like the 50s. That phrase. Anyway.
Poison Ivy.
Man, she really did get me. Like, it's hard for me to talk.
It's hard for you to talk now.
Poison.
She can control plants. She cares more about plant life than humans. She can control men with like pheromones. And I didn't really know this before today, but I was reading up.
Yeah.
She's kind of obsessed with Batman because Batman's willpower is so strong he's able to resist her.
Ah.
So she's kind of like obsessed with getting him.
Gotcha.
Because of that
he's like the one that got away.
The one that got away, yeah. And I would say she's probably one of the more powerful Batman villains.
She's got
all
the power.
plant life on her side, which is quite a bit.
It's a lot of stuff.
And she can poison people just by one kiss.
But you kind of feel like they'd get it at some point. Like,
well, but she could control them with her pheromones and then kiss them.
now that's pretty OP.
Pretty OP, except for Batman, because Batman's like, nah.
Batman's like, nah, I've got Catwoman.
I got Catwoman.
and that other lady.
Yeah, I got Catwoman and Talia.
Talia. I tell you what. I got Catwoman.
Number 7, Scarecrow. Tell me about Scarecrow. I know you like him.
Whoa.
I was actually surprised that you didn't ask me to move him up the list.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'd move him up.
Well, he's at 7. I gave you all the chances in the world to change the list.
I didn't think about it. I guess Scarecrow's a pretty cool guy. Played by that guy from Inception.
Yep.
Kind of got spooky eyes. That guy. What's his name?
It's either Cillian or Killian Murphy. I've never known how to pronounce his first name.
Is it with a C at the beginning then?
Yeah.
Interesting. He wears a bag like a scarecrow on his face.
Yep.
And then he done sprays some spooky stuff. And it makes people see their greatest fears. Correct?
Yes.
For Batman, that's a bunch of bats.
Yeah. Yeah, unlike Poison Ivy, Batman is not immune to Scarecrow's
He doesn't have the will.
No.
And so is the big storyline for Scarecrow that he does the whole city? He does the whole city with the poison?
Maybe in certain things. Isn't that what happens in
That's in the video game.
Arkham Knight?
But is that not in the
in Batman Begins, he's working for a different villain, but they use his fear toxin to take over the city, yeah.
Yeah, and I assumed that was like from a comic book.
It might be. I don't know.
Well, Daniel, what good are you?
I did so much research.
It's like you don't even care about this podcast anymore. I used to be able to ask you any question, you just know it.
Are you talking in a mirror right now? His name's Dr. Jonathan Crane, and he's been around since September 1941. So he's a really early villain as well.
It's a good villain.
It is.
That's a really complex idea, to be fair.
I would really like to see a movie with him as like maybe the main villain. And remember the scene in Spider-Man Far From Home when Mysterio's like messing with Spider-Man's brain?
Yeah.
I would like to see a scene kind of like that, but Scarecrow and Batman.
I mean, it is in Batman Begins.
Yeah, but all that you see is like bats. I don't know. I want to see like a crazy nightmare.
Yeah.
World.
So like what it is in that Batman video game.
Yeah.
The very beginning of that game.
It's just a nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, something like that.
You walk into a restaurant and then all of a sudden everybody becomes zombies.
Yeah.
Shooting them all dead.
Yeah, just something wild.
Which is spooky because then it turns out they were real people and you were a cop and you killed a bunch of people.
Oh, that's right. I remember you made me play that level. You said, hey, play this. It won't traumatize you. And then I played it.
I was like, haha, you killed a bunch of people. Innocent lives.
You're like, now go walk home, idiot.
Yeah. Go in the dark. I like Scarecrow, though. He's a bad boy.
He deserves to be in top 10.
He's got cool black hair. He slicks back. It's cool stuff.
All right. Here's number 6, Philip.
The Penguin.
The Penguin.
I like this guy. Little guy.
Do you know what his actual name is?
Jerome.
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 Jerome what? What's his last name?
Well, did I get that one right?
Well, I'll tell you after.
Jerome. Jerome Jarvis. Jerome Jarvis.
Jardis. His name's Oswald Cobblepot.
I don't think I even got any of the right consonants.
Oswald Cobblepot has been around since December 1941, so almost as long as Scarecrow.
So he's the like mafia guy.
Yeah, he's probably the main like crime boss of Gotham.
And he's got not a restaurant, a club.
Yeah.
Does he have a club?
Do you know what it's called?
Is it called Club Cool?
Oh, that'd actually be really good. Club Cool. I like that a lot, actually. Probably, it's called the Iceberg Lounge. But I
mean, Club Cool's pretty close.
I like Club Cool.
I think that might be a place in Disney World.
In New Orleans?
This is Disney World.
Oh. Yeah.
Maybe in New Orleans, too. Who knows?
Maybe. We don't know. So, yes, Oswald Cobblepot is a crime boss. He owns the Iceberg Lounge.
Yeah.
Wonderfully played by Danny DeVito in Batman Returns. And
does he actually do a good job?
Oh, he's wonderful. I love it. That might be one of my favorite villain performances ever. He's great. The thing with Penguin is you could take him multiple different ways. Like you could do the crime boss thing. I think in some iterations he's mayor, or at least running for mayor.
Okay.
Sometimes he's just a regular man with like a weird looking nose, and then other times he's just like a freakish little like goblin man.
He's in the new Batman, right? Like
Yes.
the newest one with Robert Pattinson.
Yes, with Robert Pattinson. He's played by Colin Farrell
I
there.
can make that joke because he's skinny.
I know. Yeah, he's like ripped. Yes, he's really good in that as well. He's no Danny DeVito.
I've not seen that one yet.
Philip Joseph.
Whoa. You don't need to give that information away.
All right. Yeah, so Penguin, he was actually originally in my top 5, and at the last second, I switched him out.
Good.
So,
Good.
all right, who's number 5? I say it.
Ras
Raz
Ghul.
Al Ghul or Raish Al Ghul. It's either Raz or Raish, depending. I think it's just Raz in the Dark Knight trilogy. And
You know what Raz
Raish.
makes me think of?
Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what Bruce makes me think of?
Finding Nemo.
Yeah. That's the only. Those names will never be linked to anyone
Anyone-
else. Even though Batman was first, but Bruce from Finding Nemo.
You know, Bruce from Finding Nemo, that's a reference to Jaws. They would call the shark Bruce on set.
Oh, that's right.
So-
I did know. I knew that. It's weird how I did know that.
I may have told you that.
It's weird how you didn't tell me, but I did know that.
Raz Raish has been around since June 1971. Who's Raish? Raz.
Talia's dad.
Yeah.
He's the guy that taught Batman how to be Batman.
Yeah.
He's like Kung Fu master man.
Uh-huh.
But he's also a bad guy,
He's a bad guy. He's the leader of the League of Assassins.
which Batman should have known. Like, he has a league, and they go out and they come back with bloody hands.
I think that's why in the Dark Knight movies they changed it to the League of Shadows. Is maybe so that Batman wouldn't look like a dummy. He's also in the comic books, he's like 600 years old.
That's cool.
Because he found this thing called the Lazarus Pit, which grants you immortality.
I've heard of that.
That's actually in the third Dark Knight movie.
I was gonna say
the big pit.
The big pit.
That's
is
what
Lazarus.
that's what's an allusion to it, is to the Lazarus Pit.
It's an illusion, Michael.
Yeah.
I know. Now I know it's an illusion.
Yeah.
Daniel, don't look at me like that.
Yeah, Raz Raish is good. Very good villain. And he's the grandfather of Batman's child.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Does
So
Batman? What does Batman do with Raj?
I
when
don't
he
know.
catches him?
I guess he has to invite him over for Christmas.
Yeah, he's like, "Come here, old man.
He's like, I guess we'll put aside our differences for Christmas.
I'll put you in jail right after Christmas."
Just like the second that midnight hits, Christmas night, it's just like all out brawl.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4,
Double faced man.
Double Face Man.
Two-Face.
Now this is my personal favorite Batman villain.
Really?
I love Two-Face. He's just so. I love stories about fall from grace.
Yeah.
Like I love it almost as much as I love a good redemption story.
It's the opposite. It's kind of the Breaking Bad story.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite of redemption. And I
Yeah,
feel like
that's what he said when he made Breaking Bad. He's like, "This is actually Two-Face."
so not in the show, but in my mind, this is Harvey Dent.
I just took this beat for beat from Batman.
yeah.
But don't tell anyone.
I literally took the script from The Dark Knight, and it's just that. How did nobody figure this out?
Yeah, I don't know how many. Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised he interviewed like that.
Two-Face Harvey Dent, he's been around since August 1942. And it was really interesting to learn that literally his story has been the exact same ever since his debut.
Wow.
He was a district attorney that had a fall from grace, got half of his face, sometimes half of his body scarred. And now he has like multiple personality disorder and flips a coin to make his decisions.
Now, what's funny is growing up, I always thought Two-Face and another character that we will talk about
Mm.
were the same guy.
Oh,
I don't know why,
okay.
but I always thought that. And then The Dark Knight came out. I was like, wait a second.
Oh, wait, they're two different people.
There's two different people here. That's weird. I'm confused. And then it all clicked.
Well, Two-Face.
My life is a lie.
Two-Face, wonderful villain. Really well played by Aaron Eckhart. Really poorly played by Tommy Lee Jones.
You know who Aaron Eckhart looks like? The Legal Eagle.
Not at all.
Yeah, they look really similar. I'm glad you know who that is.
Yes, I feel like we've talked about the Legal Eagle on here before.
I think we have to. And I think it's just funny. It's just funny how he pops up. It's like,
Yeah, I don't ask for him, but
I
he
don't
pops up
yeah,
sometimes.
I'm never looking for legal advice. But why are you here? How do you have so many views?
As much as I would love to talk about Two-Face more, it's getting late, and we still have 3 more. Number 3, the Riddler. Originally, his name was Edward Nygma. I think lately they've changed it to Edward Nashton because Nygma is a dumb last name. And the only reason why it's Nygma is so that his initial could be Enigma.
Yeah.
He's been around since October 1948, so long time.
Riddle be this, Daniel.
Oh,
I'm always hungry. I must always be fed.
okay.
The finger I touch will soon be red. What am I?
Finger I touch will soon be red. Oh, I mean, is it an animal? Is it an animal?
It is not an animal.
Is it time?
It is not time.
Is it finger will be red? A flashlight?
You're very close.
A match?
I'll give it that to you. It's a fire.
A fire? Okay.
I'm always hungry. I must always be fed.
Okay,
The
yeah.
finger I touch.
Okay,
It will soon be red.
yeah, I got that one.
That was from the Riddler.
Riddle me this.
Okay.
What goes up but never comes down?
Age.
Yeah. Number 2. Just kidding. Do you like the Riddler?
I like the Riddler. I think he's great. I think he deserves to be number 3.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a good. He gets Batman. He's got little jokesters. Little jokesters every once in a while.
At first glance, he seems like a dollar store ripoff of another character.
Yeah, but he's not.
But he's not. He's very different.
He's got them question marks everywhere.
Yeah, he leaves riddles, puzzles. He has like a weird disorder where he's like obsessed with that stuff. And they actually, I think it's on record that he's Batman's smartest villain and that he's actually technically smarter than Batman.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
But Batman throw a punch right
If there's a
into Riddler's
punch,
face.
yeah, usually the Riddler is not up to Batman's physicality.
No.
But I also think Riddler has a weird thing to where like he has to put clues in for him to be caught. It's like a nerve, like an impulse.
Yeah.
So there's always a way to catch him.
Yeah.
He always
Yeah.
leaves clues behind to do that. So
The 60s Batman Riddler.
it's pretty fantastic.
Something else.
Yeah. Jim Carrey's okay. And then the new Riddler is great in the Batman.
Who plays him?
Paul Dano.
Don't know who that is. Sounds fake.
But great. And actually the new movie, he is the Riddler, but they take a lot of notes from Hush, actually, in that movie.
Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting that you say that.
All right, who's number 2, Philip?
The bane of my existence.
Oh, what's that?
Bane.
No. What's the bane of your existence? What?
What?
Yeah, Bane. When I first started making the list, he was at like 7.
Whoa.
And
Why
then
would
like
you do that?
the more and more I was thinking about it, I was like, no, he's higher than that. He's higher than that. He's higher than that.
He's like breaks Batman's back.
I know.
Right in the halves.
Right in the halves.
And then Batman How does he get out of that?
Well, in the comic books, he's out for a long time. Dick Grayson takes over as Batman while he's out.
So Batman's just like in a wheelchair hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's fine in the Dark Knight Rises, but kind of just doesn't really get his back broken.
Yeah, it's more like
It's like, ouch, a bruise.
he breaks like a disc or something.
He's like, my name's Bruce, and I got a bruise.
The one thing that people always complain, they're like, oh, Batman heals so quickly. There's supposed to be like 6 months in that movie that passes before he gets better. So
that's what you think.
he did break his back. But I was reading up on Bane's history a lot today. The Dark Knight Rises is really faithful to Bane's comic book origin. He lived in a prison all of his life. He took that time to read books and became smart. I think Batman and Robin has a Bane version in that movie, and he's just like a dumb idiot that just yells all the time.
Yeah. He's smart.
Yeah, Tom Hardy's Bane is super intellectual, and I just love that portrayal of Bane. I think it's great. The only thing that's not comic book accurate is in the comic books.
How he's a tiny man.
How he's a tiny man. Well, yeah, Tom Hardy's a tiny man. No, in the comic books, he has the venom serum that makes him grow.
Yeah.
But
Sweet.
in the Dark Knight movies, that's more realistic. Tom Hardy is pretty great as that.
Yeah.
Bane.
I do miss the veins.
The Banes?
The Banes veins.
He's been around since January 1993, so he's fairly new. 93.
Yeah, that's newer than I thought.
You're older than that.
I'm older than that. Don't say that.
And then earlier when I brought up KG Beast,
yeah.
if you need to visualize KG Beast, just imagine comic book Bane, but he has a machine gun for an arm.
Okay. That sounds like a comic book character.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, Bane's awesome. He breaks Batman's back. He's big, buff, smart guy.
Bane's like, when they looked at my body, they're like, there's 2-year-old Philip. That will be Bane.
I can't even begin to understand what you meant by that.
They made Bane after me because I'm so beefy and cool and really, really smart.
All right. Let's say number one.
But
together.
it was I was only 2 at the time,
Yeah.
So they knew preemptively what I would look like.
Right.
Like, you're looking at me right now and you're like, that is Bane.
Okay. Number 1 is the Condiment King.
That's a real one, right?
It's a real one. Just kidding. Number 1 is Polka Dot Man.
Oh, you got me.
Just kidding. Number 1 is Kite Man.
Kite Man, huh?
Just kidding. Number 1 is Zebra Man. There's a zebra guy, I think. Who's number 1, Philip?
With all these jokes.
Oh.
I don't know if I can say it.
Oh.
Huh?
It is Condiment King.
It is, it's weird how it is Condiment King. And Daniel, tell me a little bit about Condiment King.
Condiment King has guns that shoot condiments out of it.
Got a little mustard on him.
A little mustard, a little ketchup, maybe some relish, never mayo. No, number 1 is
Joker.
Who's your favorite Joker?
Oh.
Are you a Mark Hamill guy or a Heath Ledger guy?
Probably Mark Hamill, actually.
Okay.
But I don't know.
They're very different. It's very hard to compare.
I feel like yours is a Heath.
I will always have a soft spot for Heath. But I understand if your favorite Joker is Mark.
I feel like you didn't grow up with the Batman
animated series. I grew up more with the Justice League show.
Yeah.
Which he showed up sometimes in, the Joker did.
And I actually did grow up with the Batman animated series. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's all it is, Daniel.
I also think Heath Ledger just gives one of the best performances ever in that movie. So
yeah.
But Joker has been around since April of 1940. And he actually, Batman showed up in the Detective Comics for a long time.
Oh, right.
And then he got his own series, Batman. And Joker was the first villain in the first issue of the Batman comic book.
Okay, so that's the first villain.
That's the first
maybe
Batman, and also I think Catwoman shows up in that issue as well. So
really.
but Hugo Strange showed up in Detective Comics before that.
Gotcha.
But it's interesting. You know how Joker, like, so there's the origin of him falling in the vat of acid. There's the origin of him being like a failed comedian. And in The Dark Knight, he's always telling like different stories about how he got the scars.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Yeah, so nobody knows in universe for Joker, but also the three different guys that created Joker all kind of have a different story of how he came to be.
Oh,
Which is kind of cool. It's almost like life imitating art.
yeah.
Or art imitating life, to where like we don't know. We don't know.
Not life imitating.
Yeah,
art.
right. We don't know exactly where Joker comes from. He has different origin stories in real life and in the comics. So I thought that was kind of cool. I was reading up on that today. I was like, oh, interesting. But he is just, I think he might be the best villain ever in any media. He's the perfect like anti of your main hero.
Yes. Yep.
Batman's about law and order. Joker's about chaos. And sometimes Joker's like just a complete psychotic maniac. Sometimes he's a super brilliant, mastermind.
Yep.
But him and Batman always are at opposing ideologies, and it's great. It's just perfect, Philip.
Just the best.
Just the best. Batman's dressed in all black. Joker's super colorful. And yeah, it's just great. I don't know. I mean, there's not much else to say. It's getting late, so we can go if you want to.
I mean, I don't want to.
Do you have anything to say about the Joker?
I like him.
You like him?
I like him.
Okay.
I think he's the best.
Oh.
I think Joker's the best.
Mm-hmm. And
maybe we're the best.
You can never be perfect, but you can always be better. We love you.
No.
Oh. We don't love them? Oh, yeah. We hate them.
No.
Oh.
Who do you have?
Who do I have?
Who do you have? Of Batman. Comic book bad guys.
Oh. Toy-wise?
Toy-wise.
I had Joker. I'm trying to think if I had a Bane. I might have had a Bane. I had Riddler. I had Two-Face. I had Scarecrow. I had Harley Quinn. Deathstroke.